Hey there, YouTube. Welcome to Big Mike Beard Wisdom. So, it's August, so it's reapplication time. So, every year I wind up using the Ortho Home Defense, like the bug barrier, and it works out pretty good. But you need to remember that you have to reapply it. Because even though on the bottle it says up to 12-month protection, that's if used on the inside of the house. So with the outside of the house, you're looking at more like a 3-month protection. Then, I've noticed a few extra things in the yard. So I'll be using a little bit of the Spectracide as well as Cutter to treat different areas. So this will probably be in the actual backyard. This will probably be in the side yard. And I'm hoping that with these both covering about 5,000 square feet, depending on how much you spray it, that we'll be able to get good saturation mostly around the house. So to try and build as big of a bug barrier as possible to try and ward off anything from getting into the house or maybe to the house. And also, these tend to treat for ticks and fleas. And with the boys, Shadow and Bandit, I definitely don't want any ticks or fleas getting on them. And with like the rabbits and some of the cats that roam around, it's one of those things where I really want to make sure that we don't wind up getting anything weird, either biting them or having them track it into the house. Similar to what I said when I first applied this in one of the earlier videos, if you buy the refills of this, it's cheaper because you're not paying for the wand that sprays it. Plus, the wands can be hit and miss as to whether or not they work really well. And I always recommend putting it into an actual sprayer. That way you've got a better control. These tend to have a little bit better spray pattern. They also tend to put down more fluid in a more controlled process. That way you're able to coat as you want to coat, and you can actually do it faster than you would have using just a normal wand. It's pretty simple. Just unscrew this. It's got the little nozzle that this is what it would have used in order to pick up with the wand. And then go ahead and just dump it into your sprayer. I don't use any kind of dye with this because this is pretty simple and you're pretty hands-on. Whereas when we go to use these, I'll put a little bit of dye in here just so that you can see that it's actually spraying when it's supposed to be spraying and still picking up the formula, as opposed to just spraying water because you've ran out. Like I said, you want to try and add a little bit of blue dye to this. That way you can see that it's spraying out, because as you can see, it's clear. And then you're adding it to water, so you've got no idea that there's movement and that it's spraying like it should be. So we're going to add just a little bit of this water-soluble blue dye. And you want to be careful with it because you don't want to be a Smurf. Go in the bottle. So hopefully that's enough. It's kind of one of those things where as long as you can kind of look in the front of it, because it's got that white impeller, and then you're able to see that it's spraying, that you're probably going to be okay. And then, like I've got this on just some shipping paper, because the blue, even though it's water soluble and washes off eventually, it's eventually. And I still have a couple spots from last year in the garage because it doesn't get wet. So there's no water to help wash it away. And then these are pretty simple. You just hook a hose at the end of it, and then you flip this open, then it should start spraying. And then you flip it back shut when you're done, shut your water off, and then open this up to relieve pressure. That way when you disconnect it, you're not getting sprayed. And because sometimes it's possible that it almost like somewhat backfeeds. So if this is closed off, you can get a little bit of stuff coming up through here. So you might get a little bit of the blue, and that's a good indicator that you just got stuff on your hands, and you really should go rinse your hands off. So as you can see, it's a little bluish. So it's easy to see if it's pulling the product out or if it's blowing just straight water. Now I don't know how much to keep moving or to keep hosing it in the same area. but we'll find out. So as we're running out, it's going to start changing and shifting colors. So shake it a little bit. Try and get the last little bit that we can. Oh, that looks like straight water. Nope, there's a little bit more product. Maybe triangling it a couple times. Hard rock theme. Oh, there was a little bit of blue. Okay, so I'm gonna say we're just about out. Just thinking about being out. But the color shifting is pretty cool, and definitely lets you know that it's still spraying or that it's out of product. But I think we're going to go ahead and call it, because that looks like pretty solid water. So we'll just shut this off real fast. Shut the water off at the source. Go ahead and relieve pressure. And as you can see, there's a little bit of mess with the blue, so definitely be sure to wear gloves. And it just kind of goes to show you that there's a little bit of the product that can come out on your hands as you're working this. Whenever you do this, you want to make sure that you're not painting yourself into a corner. So basically the way that I did it was I took and I ran the hose out as far as I could to the areas that I wanted to treat. And I started from the farthest point, which was basically the edge of the lawn over there. I sprayed this area here down. This is about 1,000 square feet right here. So I was able to kind of gauge as to how much time it took me to do this area and kind of fuzzy logic it into the rest of the areas. And I basically went from the edge of here to about there and ran across the yard with it. So you can kind of see, sometimes it's the dye, sometimes it's the fact that it's still a little wet. So I went all the way up into here, and then I sprayed up into here. So all the while I was kicking the hose to the inside. That way I didn't paint myself in a corner with the hose, and I didn't have to walk in any wet areas that were already treated. So then I sprayed out this whole area here, came back this way, sprayed down the tree really good, because this guy is like an ant magnet. Because he's definitely not long for the world. But I was able to finish up spraying this way, and then as you guys saw, it started sputtering when I was about here. So I think we got a pretty good layer across here to build a semi super barrier. So we've got the house treated close to the house, we've got the lawn treated close to the house for about half of it. And then what we'll do later on another day or another weekend, is we'll treat this back section. And the reason why I want to do it on a different day is because this stuff is safe once it's dry for people and pets, but it's got to dry off first. So what I'll do is whenever we let Shadow and Bandit out to go pee and poop and to play and stuff, we'll do it back here in the backyard where I haven't treated yet. And then on the day whenever we go to do this back section, we'll let them in the side yard and the front yard. That way nobody gets blue paws and I don't have to worry about any kind of weird stuff happening. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll check you next time. Oh, I'm so blue, dabble dee dabble da dabble dee. Oh, can I say that?